What do you think is the mode that made the biggest strides this year in 2K17?
Well, we're gonna find out.
Oh, the troll?
Can't say quite yet, but I will say that what we try to do is give so many modes love, and there's so many people working on different modes that just give it that TLC. I think fans are gonna be really happy with what we're doing with NBA 2K17. Ask me again in like 2 weeks, and then we can have this conversation.
So 2K Sports may have, well, actually, scratch that. They have outdone themselves this year with their new installment in the 2K series. I was able to have the honor of being invited to their annual 2K Community Team Update and be one of the first people to play NBA 2K17, and I must say, from my gameplay standpoint, this might be one of their best pieces of work in years. The game is smooth, well-paced, realistic, and looks just fantastic, to be honest with you. So without wasting any more time, let's just get to it. So to begin the presentation that we saw, Jeff Thomas of Visual Concepts showed us the effort that was really put into revamping the look of the game and recreating how it looked in general. So at first glance it might not seem like much, but when taking into consideration all the detail that was involved in it, it's kind of admirable, to be honest with you. So just to name a few things, the lighting and the shaders and the textures have all been redone to just avoid that kind of washed out look that some players had. And there have been 3D scans of over 300 shoes, Kobe's, the entire collection, from the Jordans to the Air Pennies, all of it is in there, and it is so well done and it actually looks great. And something that I was requesting to be a bit more improved, even though 2K is a bit ahead in that department of other sports games, a new cast of color commentators have been added, and it's basically the whole TNT crew: Chris Webber, Brent Barry, David Aldridge. And the cool thing about this is all of these guys are added to your game depending on where you're playing and which arena, so it's where they cover in actual real life. And I think that is a really cool aspect. So every game you hear somebody different talking about you playing, and not just everything the same time with the same lines. Finally, and possibly what I thought was the most impressive and effort-filled thing that they did, they traveled over 16,000 miles to every team's home court to record the sounds of every single court. And by that I mean the net snapping on a wet shot, the bounce of a ball, shots hitting the rim, and even the crowds. Everything is individualized for every single NBA arena. That is what I will call some effort on their part. Huge effort. Now, as for the offense, I think for the last 2 years, offensive gameplay of 2K has fluctuated from kind of great to subpar very quickly, I might add, and patches sometimes ruin the game, which is very disappointing to see. But I'm happy to say that 2K17 has some of the most fun and realistic offensive gameplay in years as of right now, with the game is how it is and no patches yet. I got the chance to sit down with some of the game's lead designers, Mike Wang and Scott O'Gallagher, and pick their brains about the good, the bad, and the ugly of 2K17's gameplay. So now, first of all shots are timed. Layups, threes, post hooks. Post hooks are huge to be timed because those used to be broken. Fades, up and unders, and even the half court heaves that last year you would just throw it up and you would just do a form. You would do no shot meter. It would just go up and you would hope for the best sometimes. Everything is timed. Now, some of you might say, especially with the layups, why is that timed? That's kind of silly. Well, to be honest with you, it brings a new aspect of control into the game. So I'm sure some of you would notice this, especially when you're taking close shots to the rim in 2K16. You would just kind of go up and do an animation and kind of hope for the best at times, and you're timing everything now. You're in control of how good of a percentage that shot is going to be. So no matter what, you have some say in how this is going to go down and whether or not you're going to make the shot, and I really appreciate that, and you will learn to appreciate that as time goes on. I know a big thing that will probably be a little bit controversial to start the year is dribble moves and dribble size ups have now been broken down into combos, and by that I mean instead of the one flick of the pro stick to trigger an entire series of moves and just trying to change them into each other and break some ankles, you now use the pro stick to make a series of dribble moves yourself while reading and reacting to your defender. So now instead of spamming the Jamal Crawford size up 10 times until you get open and you can blow by, you can now manually go between the legs, behind the back, pause, watch your defender, boom boom, crossover, and gone. You can literally string together animations from hesitations, size ups, step backs, all of that, and to an extent, you can kind of make your own size ups with how much control that you now have over the pro stick and how all dribble moves now are. I even asked Mike Wang a personal question, and I said every year that there will be something that is abused. What do you think might be a little overpowered this year in your opinion? And he looked at me and he said, honestly, shooting, but by way of dribble moves. By that he meant that people who are actually good on the sticks or get good on the sticks, they can almost become unguardable because ankle breakers will be a bit overpowered to start the year. It will be one of those things that might need toning down, because if people get really good at it, it will be a huge complaint throughout the community. And that can be a good and bad thing, because I was having so much fun playing on the sticks. People like Iverson are so amazing now because you can just break people down in an isolation scenario. Defense is nothing to wink at either. I'll get to that in a minute, but I'm just saying that if there was one thing coming from Mike Wang himself, those ankle breakers and the dribble moves might be the new cheese. Moving on, the shooting has been touched on for the beta as well, from the new full bar shot meter to the shots that are just no more meckable. For example, in 2K16, moving mid-range shots were just as broken as could possibly be. Not even the god king of faders, Allen Iverson himself, could consistently knock them down. But this year, there's now a contested as well as an open stat for every type of shot. So open shot 3, contested shot 3. And furthermore, badges now play a much larger role in helping players make the shots that they're known to make. Hallelujah for that, because some players honestly just didn't feel like themselves, and I feel like that would help personalize each player so they're good at what they should be good at, and you can actually play how they play in real life. Moving on from that, something called situational motion has been introduced to cause players to react to exactly what may be happening on the court at any given moment, just like real life. The best example of this that I can give would be, I was using the Warriors, right, so don't judge me, and I just hit 2 deep threes with Steph Curry. I come in down court the third time and my opponent picked me up from half court with pressure defense, right? He doesn't want me to pull up for the deep three again because I just did not care. I was pulling with no regard. So I called for a pick with Draymond and I handed the ball off to Draymond. And as I stood at the top of the key with Draymond, Steph, who is now a CPU, saw that my opponent's players didn't switch properly, and he casually just faded away into the corner like he does in real life. One pass and one mouth guard adjustment later, boom, my opponent was just screaming, "Who lost track of Steph?" Sounds like real life, doesn't it? And now, as I finally transitioned into the defensive aspects of the game that I think you'll feel the most, let me get into what 2K now calls their 2.0 ACE defensive AI coaching system, right? So this will help the casual player to become a better game planner and also challenge the experienced player by making the CPU adapt to their playstyle. So for example, if you're playing the Spurs and a specific player of yours just started completely going off, Kawhi would automatically switch onto you and the defense would start taking away your strengths. So for example, cutting off your drives, running you off the 3-point line, things of that nature. The new smart coach in timeouts will also recommend what setting to use on certain players, certain teams, as well as what adjustments you can make for your own team. And conversely, the new system will make the CPU attack your positional mismatches and cut off your favorite ways of scoring, whether it be shooting from the perimeter or driving to the rack. And as you get better, so does the system. So it challenges you to always become a better player, and that is what I love about this thing. And with all of this going on, you also now have full control of how your team defends, how it reacts. Normal points of emphasis are still around, but now you can go further in depth and even run specific players off the line, tell your guys to pick up this certain guy 90 feet, deny him the ball in the post, make him shoot, or extend the defense and try to double him as much as you can. It's quite a lot to take in, but I'm sure once you pick up NBA 2K17 and get a feel for this, or jump into 2KU and learn all of these new features with Coach K and the Olympic team in their training mode, it will come like second nature and you will be locking up in no time. Now moving on, if you guys want to see all the defensive points that I found out and the devs that I spoke to and what they changed defensively in 2K, be sure to check out my main channel, Andre 2K, the Surreal Andre. I'll be telling you guys what I heard, and it's some big stuff about how you stop some of these guys and what might be just unstoppable.
Finish.
Oh, nice. Oh.
Oh, this is delicious! Yes! Yes!
Sports Gamers Online is the #1 source for the sports gamer.
Following the release of NBA 2K's new Prelude trailer, Sports Gamers Online is excited to let y'all know that we'll be some of the first with more exclusive news on their next installment. We've been invited to attend their annual community team update to get a hands-on first look at NBA 2K17 and even have some time to sit down with the developers themselves. As a longtime fan of this series that one day just made a video of his My Team collection for a laugh, I'm ecstatic that SGO gave me this opportunity to attend this event on their behalf, and a huge shout out to 2K as well for tossing us an invite. It'll be pretty cool to get some time with the guys who actually make the game that we all play so much.